Hello, everybody. This is the 6th edition of the Burning Desire show, and today I'm sat with Jemma Gofton.
Hi.
Very fortunately. Jemma has a wealth of experience within TV and also modelling, is that correct?
Gosh, 100 years ago, though.
Can we start as to how you got into the whole modelling thing? How did that come about?
Yeah, I was 17 and I was sort of looking for something to do after leaving college. Decided I would do university, but then deferred my place or thought I would have a year off.
Okay.
And then I had a year off and I never went back. I never went back to university, which people say, would you regret it? But then I think, well, I can go to university or get a degree at any time of my life. Mm-hmm. So I don't regret it yet, but I am on the cusp of perhaps delving further into getting a degree.
And what was that degree going to be in then, and what is it now? Has it changed?
Not hugely, because it would have been in media of some sort, whether it be journalism or theatre studies or something like that. Mm-hmm. And now I would like to do journalism because I teach a degrry.
Yeah, I've noticed. So Gemma's the first person that's brought a dossier, I would say, of what her accomplishments, what she's been doing, and it was one of the things I've circled actually. About you got a presenting module that you teach. Yes,
so it's a degree, and I don't have a degree in it myself.
Okay.
So I'm always a bit mindful when the students say, "Well, how did you get your?" And I didn't get a degree, and we're trying to entice them to get a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a degree, and I didn't get one. So it's tricky.
What does it look like when you're presenting there? What are you when you're teaching presenting? Because obviously I've got a lot to learn. I've just started this myself, so any tips would be greatly appreciated. How do you kind of go about presenting that module?
It's very much set in stone. It's a 10-week module. 1 week is teaching people how to read autocue, which you might think, well, that's as simple as can be. It's reading out loud. But actually, there's a real knack to making sure that your eyes don't look as if they scan across the screen.
So the right thing is the autocue just below the camera, or is it?
It's actually in front of the camera.
Okay.
It's a mirror, and it mirrors the words up in front of the camera lens.
Okay.
So you can see everything, but you can see the lens behind. But of course, you have that thing of your eyes scanning across. So it's the knack of things like that.
So not looking like you're reading off the autocue.
Listening to somebody talk in your ear while you're reading, while they're counting, while they're telling you that your guest has arrived. So I'm teaching all of those skills, but I also teach, or I have a team of people that teach us how to shoot, how to self-shoot, how to edit, because in this day and age, you can't really get into this job without being able to do all of those things. You can't just be a show and go, as we used to call it.
A show and go.
A show and go, which is when you turn up, have your hair straight and put your lip gloss on, read some words out loud and then go.
I see.
You can't do that anymore.
I see. I was watching, interesting enough, the Women's World Cup the other day. Noticed all three of there's main anchor and there's three interviewed guests almost at half time. They all had earpieces in.
Yes.
Is the reason that no one over talks because they say, right, you're answering this question? Is that kind of what happens sometimes?
In here,
in the headset?
No, you're hearing what's happening next, the count as to how long you've got left. The anchor is the person who will say, "Oh, so Charles, tell me, what did you think about this?" And then move on to the next person. So really, as the guest, it's not that important what's being said in your ear.
Okay.
But it is really important if you're the anchor.
Okay.
It's just nice that your guests know to shut up when they hear 5 seconds left. Otherwise, people would carry on chatting.
Yes.
But interestingly, because I put earpieces in the students' ears, not me physically, but and all of a sudden, about 3-4 years ago, people got it a lot quicker. And I was thinking, well, this is because it's a mission impossible, really, to listen to such nonsense in your ear and interview somebody and concentrate on what camera's on and etc. etc. And I realised it's because people work at Zara and McDonald's and they all have earpieces now.
It's become commonplace in the workplace.
Yes, so they're used to listening to somebody speak and speaking to a customer.
Okay.
So it's become easier for people.
Okay. You bring me back to my days at Tesco when we used to have over the tannoy and say, there's been a spillage in aisle 3 or, I've got a customer, can a manager used to come and I used to have to go down there. And they taught us, this is a bit of a segue, but they taught us about kind of not expecting the worst. It's a bit like going to the High Master's office. You expect it. I remember getting called down from upstairs where you were in a meeting.
Obviously.
Yeah, never in real world. Yeah. But I remember getting called down and thinking, oh no, what's this with this customer? And you were actively taught Tesco not to expect the worst. To just go there and be kind of like, nice and amenable rather than kind of what's someone going to come.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've noticed as well on your CV, you've done a few different animal type projects. Are you passionate about animals, or sort of an equestrian based activity like doing? Or?
I love animals. It was a total fluke that I got given the first one, which was Animal Watch.
Right.
Having to refer to my own notes
No,
here.
it's
That's
all right.
terrible, isn't it? It's a long time ago. It was a fluke that I got given that job. I don't think anyone was available. I was working at Granada as an entertainment reporter at the time.
Okay.
And I think that had been commissioned and there was nobody to present it.
Step forward, Gemma.
Step forward, Gemma. I've got my own pair of wellies. I'm your person. And after that, I then ended up it became a bit of a niche. But I do love animals, fortunately. And the only thing I was really scared of whilst doing Animal Watch, I'm not very good with spiders.
Oh, I don't like spiders.
No. And I can remember doing a link to the break in the reptile house. And they sort of said, well, what will you hold? And go into the link to break. I was looking around and thinking, there is nothing in here. Bearing in mind, I'd been in with monkeys and elephants. I'd done all sorts. That didn't bother me. I literally went to the break with a terrapin in my hand going, join us after the break.
And then someone, please get rid of it.
This is the only thing I'm willing to hold in here. Yeah, so that was the only thing I was bothered about was the spiders. And the bat house. Because you can't see anything. And all you can feel is things fluttering by you as you're trying to speak. But the camera can see, because the camera's got an infrared thing on. Infrared, would that be right? Anyway, it can
Sounds
see.
Right.
Yeah, it can see,
thing.
yeah. But all I could feel was things coming past me.
So you've done Inside Out as well, and that's a variety. Explain to me what Inside Out is if you haven't seen it.
Well, Inside Out is stories of interest in your area. So Inside Out, everybody has their own regional Inside Out. I work on Inside Out as a freelance reporter, so as and when they need me, Northwest. So it can be as varied as, I mean, I've been doing it since 2002, which is when Harry Potter came out.
It's correct, it says it here.
I know, it says, because I'm looking at it, honestly. It's when Harry Potter came out, and everybody then, all these kids wanted owls as pets.
Really?
So I did a piece on owls. That was my first one I ever did. And then also, I've done one on the increase of young people self-harming. So it's so varied. It's so varied. I love it. Absolutely love it.
And you did, I saw on your website, you did a piece about Manchester Adoption Society.
Yes.
Which is very dear to your heart, when explaining the story a little bit.
Yeah, I was adopted from birth in 1971, which was a long, long time ago. And in 1971, as a dual heritage person, half Chinese, I would have been probably left in foster care because nobody wanted a half Chinese baby. But I was adopted through Manchester Adoption Society, which I could be wrong on this, so forgive me. I think it was a church adoption society.
Right, okay.
I don't 100% know this, but and it's actually. It was just around the corner from here. It was literally around the corner.
I was looking at the video footage on their website before, and I recognised that.
Yeah, it was at the top. It was at the top of the road.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it shut down, which meant that my paperwork, all my adoption paperwork, would then be distributed to different places, as would the next person and the next person. So we wouldn't necessarily know where our paperwork was. We'd have to really search for it. Whereas we knew it was at Manchester Adoption Society. I've never wanted to know or never wanted to look at it. But when it's taken away from you that it could be hard work to try and find out.
The option of not being there.
That's when you start to think, well, actually, it's such a shame that this society, I think it was down to funding, had to shut.
That is a real shame. And then you've got something else here which is very interesting, which you've started recently, this is of last year, where you're helping young adults with interview techniques and jobs and helping them get on board. That must be really rewarding.
Yeah, that's through the Lowry Theatre, actually. It's called the Yes Project. And again, so the theme here is I fall into jobs.
It's a good thing to have.
It is a good thing to have.
Out,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I genuinely don't know how I end up getting these jobs. But this one actually probably came off the back of teaching at Salford University. Mm-hmm. And the person, Fraser, who runs the Yes Project at the Lowry, sat in and saw something that I'd done and asked me. And it's very challenging, because it's young people who are not in education, employment or training.
Yep.
For many different reasons. Straight away you might think, been excluded from school. That's not necessarily the case. Somebody might be poorly, not physically well enough to get to jobs. or mentally well enough to get to a job.
Yep.
So my job, I suppose, is to try and give them the confidence to interview well. And it's really hard. It's a really tough gig for young people who haven't always got the support network around them. And I think that's what the Yes Project is. They're trying to support them and say, you are worthy, you can go and get a job.
Yeah.
And whilst I'm teaching them interview techniques, they are placed into places in the Lowry Theatre, so they might work on the box office, or they might work
brilliant!
in the
So they get
cafe.
some exposure.
Yes, and so they realise what work is about, and then we do fake interviews with them, mock interviews with them, and then we send them out for real job interviews.
And you've got a real eclectic mix from the university to the tech. Did you say I missed what you said, I apologise. Did you say that from the university is how you got this second job, or something related?
I think probably Fraser saw a lecture I was doing and then said, would you be interested in helping out with this? And it can be difficult working in media. You probably know this.
Yep.
That it is very fickle. It is.
Yep.
There's, you don't.
So we're back with Jemma, and we were just discussing how tough it is being self-employed and freelancer for almost 30 years now.
Yeah, I love it. Don't get me wrong. It's great. I get to go to the gym with your mum, for example. I get to do lots of things. But yesterday was a day of chasing up, asking people to pay me.
Right.
And it gets really disheartening sometimes, because you think, well, in my husband's business, for example, he's got somebody to do the invoicing. He's got somebody to chase the invoices up. He's got somebody if the printer breaks.
Some of the dirty
He's got somebody
jobs.
for everything. And I'm literally shouting at the printer, chasing up invoices, sending out invoices, trying to find PO numbers. And I don't have anybody to do all those things for me.
Right.
But I would say that was like, 5% of a downside to it. Everything else is great. I love it.
That's cool. What some of the more interesting roles you've had on Inside Out? What's some more interesting topics that you've enjoyed exploring?
Genuinely love them all. Love all of the things I've done on Inside Out, and I'm really racking my brains. I think the story about teen self-harm pushed me out of my comfort zone of reporting.
Wow.
Because as you look down my CV there, we've got animals, fashion, entertainment,
cruises to 11.
Cruises, holidays. So things like that I'm really proud to do, because it does push me out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
So anything a bit more hard-hitting I like doing. That sounds terrible. Doing.
Of course.
You
get
like
more
to
of
get
a
into it.
challenge.
Yeah. But then I don't really want to say this, but I'm going to say it. My favourite ever job in the world was styling the city for Channel Manchester.
And what was that exactly?
So it was a 23-minute show every week about fashion, health and lifestyle in Manchester. And I loved it.
What did it see you do? What sort of things?
I was the presenter on it. We would have a fashion slot, a bit like This Morning has.
Oh, okay.
Then we would talk about vitamins that are good for your skin. Then we would do makeup. Then we would do shoes. And I loved every single minute of it. There was not a single bit of it I didn't love. I had a great producer, a great researcher, great camera ops, and we worked really well together. And I bump into all those people now. They all work at the BBC now.
Right.
And we all still say, best job we ever had. Best job we ever had.
What's the audience like at Channel M? I see it occasionally on my screen.
Well, it as it was from when I was working there. It's not that anymore. I believe it's still around, and I think it's something to do with the students from Salford University.
Right.
So I should probably know a little bit more about it. But when we had it, it was, when we worked there, we didn't ever have it. When we worked at Channel M, we had a sports side, fashion, news, a live breakfast show every day. It was great. It was a great place. And when I bump into people at the BBC and they'll say, oh, how do you know such and such person? I'll say, oh, we worked at Channel M together. They say, oh, I like Channel M people because they can present, edit, shoot, do sound.
Had to do everything.
We had to do everything. We had to be so hands-on. And it was a great place to learn your trade.
That's amazing. Just looking at some of your other things you've done. Bloody Murder? What was that exactly?
Well, I was just helping out, really. It was it was a drama about real life murders, and they just needed actors and actresses and whoever to be in it. So I helped with the casting because I knew quite a lot of actors and whatnot. So so I helped with that, which was great.
Very good. Well, I think we've got quite a lot of interesting information, insights into your life. Anything else you wanted to talk about or we missed?
I don't think so. Hold on, let me look at my own CV there for a second. No, I think that's it really.
Perfect. Well, I'll